welcome to the Friday edition of the Fallon Forum. That's Brother Trucker and their tune Downtown. Well, some of my nonprofit allies have been busy this week trying to work with the EPA. We'll talk a little bit about that today, but I want to take a second to thank the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club and also Iowa Physicians for Social Responsibility and the Great March for Climate Action for being partners with us in this program. I also want to thank Gateway Marketing Cafe for sponsoring this segment of our conversation. Gateway's at 20th and Woodland, and a great grocery store, also a great deli and a great place for breakfast, lunch, or supper. I want to thank Kim Holding and Story County Veterinary Clinic for partnering with us on this program as well, and also Dan Kelly and his real estate business in Newton. Okay, so we will eventually talk a little bit more about, again, it's kind of an ongoing feature because every day something new happens. Governor Branstad and his woes. This one relevant to the detail on his SUV that will apparently stay secret. How's that for a guy who has promised to be more open and transparent? We're also going to talk about the Aviva buyout. This is big news. And we'll talk again about the EPA visit, the visit to Des Moines from the head of the EPA, Gina McCarthy. And also, apparently Iowa is getting fatter. Anyway, who knew? It must be the butter cow. Anyway, we're going to mostly talk about healthcare today, and I am delighted to have my mortal enemy in the studio with me, Pat Petrosh. Hi, Pat.
How you doing, Ed? Thanks for having me on.
You were the coolest looking conservative I know.
Well, and I get that a lot, although I'm usually not called coolest. No, I get
cruelest or what? Or droolingest or what?
Well, what's funny is my look has changed a lot since I ran for Congress. So a lot of the people that I met then, will take a double take and go, "Oh my God, don't I know you?"
I'm really glad I didn't vote for you. What are you? You look like a Democrat.
Well, I don't get insulted like that.
Oh, that would be more. Yeah, I don't even get called a Democrat anymore. Well, I do actually, but
all right. Yeah. So, how's your climate change march going?
It's coming along. We're still waiting for you to sign on the dotted line and join us, but it's coming along pretty well. We have marchers from 15 different states now.
All right, good.
And it's just mostly a matter of just continuing to build momentum and get the word out. It's a big commitment. I mean, 8 months.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a great experience. It's going to hopefully have a huge impact on the issue as well, but it's also a huge commitment. It's a big commitment.
Absolutely.
So you gonna join us?
I don't walk that much. Well, like I said,
neither did I until I started training last month.
Until you started training. Well, I will consider it. I've been talking to Lefty about it, and he says he might do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That'd be good stuff.
Good to know.
So.
For those who did the Great Peace March in 1986, which was also LA to DC, it was a life transforming experience. It really was.
Yeah.
It didn't just affect the issue; it affected the people involved in a big way and in a very positive way. So,
absolutely.
Anyway, we could use the token conservative on the march. So
a token conservative.
Every good climate march needs one, token climate denier.
Is that it? I don't deny that the climate is changing. I just don't believe it's what everybody says it is. I believe there's multiple factors.
And so you're all out there all on your own there. 97% of the scientists over on this side, Dr. Pat Petrosh on the other side, on his own.
Well, but out of all those scientists, I'm the only one that doesn't have a financial interest in perpetrating this.
Well, most of the scientists with the financial interest are getting their money from Big Oil and the Koch brothers to say otherwise. That little 3%.
Well, like I said, I'm not getting oil money or money from anybody to formulate my own opinion.
Right. So. You get money from patients.
I do occasionally.
Occasionally
I get money from patients.
What about these Medicaid patients?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you. I like seeing all kinds of people, but I will tell you that, and it's not very often I'm critical of Governor Branstad because I've known
my job.
Yeah, it's your job. But I think what he's done with the Hawkeye, Iowa Cares program, I don't think that's the right direction for Iowans to go. The transition has really punished those that were on those programs. There's a lot of snafus in trying to transfer from one place to another.
So maybe summarize what that transition looks like for our audience.
Well, the long and the short of it is people don't have insurance for this period of time in between the end of these other programs and the beginning of Governor Branstad's programs. And the
And how long of a period of time is that?
Well, nobody really knows. It's a lot like Obamacare in the fact that, the framework is in place, but the rules are being decided as we go along, which creates a lot of chaos. I understand why Governor Branstad did it. I understand that, he wants to save money to try to serve more Iowans. I just think that the advice he got on this was bad advice.
But doesn't he spend more money? I mean, his original plan. Well, let's back up. His original proposal again. Well, okay, back up one step further, Ed. The plan, the Medicaid component as passed in the Affordable Care Act, indicated that a bunch of money would be coming to the states, and the federal government would pick up 90% of the cost of this Medicaid expansion. No, they'd pick up
100% of it,
and eventually it would drop to 90%.
Yeah, by 2020, something
a pretty
that.
Amazing deal, any way you cut it. And so, I think it was set up that way so that states would have a hard time saying no, because one of the intents of the Affordable Care Act was to see that more low income and working families would have greater access to medical care. So that was the plan. And I think people were surprised at how many states said no to it. And Governor Branstad was among the governors who said, no, we don't want to buy in to the Medicaid expansion. And as a result, again, because of requirements that these additional low-income and working people be covered, the state had to pick up the cost of that. So Branstad rejected federal money and wanted to spend more money, more Iowa tax dollars, to cover less people. 150,000 less people would be covered under the original plan that he was digging his heels in on. I think I have that right.
Well, and I would say that the facts are correct. I think the implications are incorrect. I think Governor Branstad was really trying to prevent our dependency upon the federal government because, the federal government's fickle.
Okay,
it's one of those things.
So why doesn't he say no to farm subsidies or why is he so eager to enroll additional counties that are hit by floods for a FEMA recovery money? It seems like a very hypocritical, dichotomy to me.
Well, as you know, when you're in politics, sometimes you have to make decisions based upon what's in the best interest of the people. And in those cases, I believe that was in the best interest of Iowans. I don't believe in any way that the Affordable Care Act is in the best interest of Americans or Iowans or anybody like that.
But what I'm talking about is not a decision. He's saying two different things. He's saying no to Medicaid money because he's concerned about the federal government's solvency, and yet he's willing to go
It's
full
not
bore
the federal
ahead.
government solvency that he's worried about. Now, I shouldn't speak for the governor. But from my perspective, it isn't the federal government solvency that's the issue. The issue is the federal government has a tendency to overpromise and underdeliver. You and I can both agree on that.
Right.
And so do you really want to be on the short end of the stick when the federal government underdelivers on this promise? It's really quite a risky proposition for the state to join into this. I think it's from the way I read the new rules and regulations and the new rules and regulations other states are starting to have to go through. This is going to be a big, giant black hole money pit if you've joined it.
Well, it's actually the Affordable Care Act is designed to save money in the long haul.
Well, I will tell you right up front, it's not designed to save money. There's no way that this is designed to save money anywhere for anybody unless you're an Obama crony, if you're an Obama supporter, if you're a union.
What's the difference between a crony or a supporter? What's the distinction there?
Well, a crony is like the Immelt guy that runs GE. He's a crony, right? A supporter would be somebody like the unions.
Okay.
So there's the difference.
I've never heard a Republican not use the word union and crony in the same sentence when you had the opportunity to do so.
Well, the unions were very upset when the Affordable Care Act first came out.
Well, I'm not a fan of it either. But let's get back to the again. What I described earlier was what Governor Branstad proposed on Medicaid in lieu of the federal enrollment.
Yeah,
but
and that's the decision that I do agree with. I don't think we should.
Okay,
be in.
But you disagree with him based on what the compromise that eventually passed the House and Senate and was signed by the governor. Is that where your disagreement comes in?
Well, no, I'm disagreeing about the actual nuts and bolts, how they're going to set it up. This is the actual way that they're doing it is what remember the Clintons came out with the HMOs and all that other stuff.
Clintons. Oh, Bill and Hillary.
Bill and Hillary,
yes,
way back when, and then we were taken over by HMOs. Medicine was essentially, and they came up with something called the carve-out system.
The what?
The carve-out system. And what a carve-out system is I'm the physician. Your life is worth so much per life, and I get that kind of money either from the government or from Iowa, whoever the payer is. I have a pool of, let's say, 1,000 people.
I thought it was priceless, Pat.
Well, but not according to the carve-out people. All right. Are we getting close to a break time? Or?
No, we're good.
All right, good. So what happens is, let's say your life, they have a covered life at $1,000. I have 1,000 covered lives. That's $1 million. That sounds like a nice chunk of change until one of these people gets sick. And what happens is doctors are then motivated to not treat the sick people because they'll take away from his pool, and they're motivated to cut people that require hospitalization. They're required to cut people that have chronic illnesses, diabetes, heart disease, and my specialty, schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, because these people will suck up a lot of the dollars that they're given. So what essentially happens is the people that cost money are then cut from the doctor's programming. By the doctor, because we are living in a voluntary state. And so over a period of time, you have more and more people getting less and less care because of the way the incentives are set up to make sure you don't treat sick people. That's what we knew. That's what we found out about the carve-out system back then. And it's the same system now that Governor Branstad set up. He calls it something different, but it's
I've not heard the term carve-out before.
Well, but they call it something different. I wish I could recall what it is off the top of my head, but the carve-out system is really, you ask any doc what a carve-out system is, he knows exactly what it is.
Right.
And that's the system that's set up. Every life was worth so much, and you get a pool of money, and if you spend beyond that, it comes, and this is the other part that I've read, is if you spend more than what you were given, next year you're more penalized. You have less money in the pool because they've had to pay the pool from the previous year. So it's really not a very good system for Iowans. Yeah. And it's one of the very few things that I'm ever going to be critical of Governor Branstad over, especially when it comes to fiscal, balancing budget, being fiscally conservative.
Yeah, so, and I've not tracked. I'm afraid I can't really dig into this one with you because I haven't tracked that closely. I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball on this one.
Well, what happens? What really happens when we start discussing healthcare? Everybody has nice catchphrases. Everybody has something that's really quick and simple. We're going to heal the poor. We're going to help the poor. Well, that's easy to say and difficult to do. One of the things that's always said, in fact, you said earlier, is we're trying to give more people access to healthcare. That's a fallacy. Everybody in the United States has access to healthcare.
But
everybody has access to healthcare, and then the issue is who pays for it.
No, hold on. I used to live next to. I lived 4 blocks from Mercy Hospital.
Yeah.
When my daughter was 2, she broke her leg. I could not go to Mercy Hospital. I went to Broadlawns, which is a couple miles away. When I got to Broadlawns, I learned that there was no doctor there on duty that day who could fix a broken leg. So instead of sending her to Mercy Hospital, where we could have been, right next door for the entire week she was in the hospital, they sent us to Iowa City. So access, yeah, I don't have the same access as somebody who had a good health plan. My daughter gets shipped 120 miles away because we don't have.
But you could have paid for her health care there.
Not on income of less than $15,000 for a family of 4.
But the bottom line is you had that choice.
No, we didn't have a choice. I didn't have any money. If you don't have the money, you don't have a choice.
But they will set up payment programs and everything else. They do. They do it all the time.
They didn't give us that option. They said you're going to Iowa City. They did not even give us that option.
Well, then that's an individual case. I can tell you that.
I can take a lot of individual cases and give you similar stories.
I can take a lot more individual cases and tell you these people have no money, but yet they got treatment. Well, thousands and thousands. I don't know. There's a reason why these hospitals, especially rural hospitals, which is one of the subjects that you pointed out today, there's a reason why these rural hospitals don't ever make money. The main reason is they take the people in the community and bring them in. Now, there's something called EMTALA that you have to treat what comes through your door. So that's one of the things.
Yeah, or you could find ways of pushing it off to the next And they do it all the time. They did it with me. They do it all the time.
Which is what Obamacare is going to really do. If you want a two-tiered system between haves and have-nots, this is the first step in doing that.
Well, let's talk more about. We got to go to a break, Pat. Let's talk more about that when we come back. And I do want to talk about the Medicare money for rural hospitals, which seems to have Senators Harkin and Grassley on the same page. That's almost as uncommon as you and me being on the same page. I also want to get your take on using tapeworms for weight loss programs. Okay,
Will do.
Bizarre. Okay, anyway, we're gonna keep this conversation going. We also want to talk about the EPA head's visit to Des Moines this week. That would be Gina McCarthy. We're going to talk a little bit more about the governor's inconsistencies on transparency. We're going to talk about the Aviva buyout, and also this is a relevant health topic as well, Pat. Iowa has gotten fatter in the past survey, so we'll talk about that as well. I do want to thank Gateway Market & Cafe. Hey, if you want to avoid health problems, weight issues, you can always eat lots of really. You can eat too much of really good food, and that can also be a problem. But start with stuff that's local, fresh, wholesome, and you can find a great selection at Gateway Market & Cafe. Again, a lot of that stuff comes from right here in central Iowa. And they've got a fantastic cafe as well, breakfast, lunch, and supper. I also want to thank Community CPA and Associates, the 10th largest accounting firm in the state of Iowa. That's founded by Yingsaw and located on Ingersoll Ave. I also want to thank Diana's Wedding Cakes. I learned yesterday that Diana makes not just cakes, but cupcakes, cookies, all sorts of other things. Speaking of weight, anyway, eat them in moderation, but hey, they're delicious and they're great for a wedding, but any other type of special event as well. I'll be back in 2 minutes, and Pat Petrosh will continue to try to pound away at me here on healthcare.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 1 of webcast1live.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
That's Mr. Baber's Neighbors, folks, and we're back to our conversation. And I forgot earlier to give out the phone number because I could really use some help defending myself against the ridiculous opinions of Dr. Pat Petrosh. And I think he would probably say the same thing about me. So
I don't need help defending myself.
You can defend yourself.
I defend myself.
I need some
just
help
fine.
here. I need some help. 855-244-0077, the number to call, 244 0077. If you're in the 515 area code, just 244-0077, and that'll do it. And our wonderful producer, Maddie Kane, will answer your phone call with the most lilting little voice imaginable, and she'll be so nice, and you'll be just happy to talk with her and won't probably want to come on the show. All right, I do want to thank the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit for sponsoring this segment of our show. The IES is an event that Pat and I would probably agree is a great event. It's an event for small business development. Not just for immigrants, but if you want to get your business idea going, this is a great place. $35 for an entire day of instruction about how to work with the Affordable Care Act, how to deal with changes in the tax code, how to write a business plan, all the things you need to know to put your business idea together. Also, I want to thank Sargent's Garage at 6th and College. Sargent's has been serving 4 generations of Fallon mobiles, and, well, 3 of them have died, but, cars do that. But this one, 237,000 miles and still going. Compliments of Graham Gormley and Sargent's Garage. I also want to thank Fighting Burrito. You been to Fighting Burrito?
Yeah, I like that. It's a good place.
They're also in Ames, of course, but right here in Des Moines on 13th Street in the Nationwide building just south of Locust Street.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know they had one here. I ate up at
Ames? Ah,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Yeah, Matthew Goodman, a city councilman in Ames, is the business owner.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, good deal.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. A politician who can do something useful. Who knew?
Absolutely.
Yeah, who knew?
That's amazing.
All right, I'm teasing my former class. Anyway, hey, let's go back to our conversation about healthcare. I want to talk about the Medicare money for rural hospitals, but first, this just in, Pat, and I got to get your take on this. I think this is crazy talk myself, but a patient ingested a tapeworm in order to lose weight. Okay, so I was this happened here in Iowa. You would think maybe that would be something that would happen in a state where crazy is more common, but I guess not. Dr. Pat Quinlisk, she's the state medical director with the Department of Public Health. She said that she basically said extremely risky. I think she was being polite. So a patient apparently, somewhere here in Iowa, told their physician that they found out on the internet. The internet, the source of all wisdom. Said that a tapeworm would be a good idea for weight loss. So she ate this tapeworm, went to her doctor. Apparently this website on the internet has been selling tapeworms as a weight loss tool. Talk about, there should be something. There should be some
it is holistic.
Action. Holistic.
It's using natural supplements.
Well, so is sticking a leech on the side of your face. I guess.
I know. Well, I will tell you, part of the problem is way back when that was a regular cure for blood loss or for weight loss. Along with leeches. I mean, we're talking long time ago. And they did. I did read at the bottom of the article that they used to sell them in pill form here and there.
Yeah.
But doctors used to give that stuff out as well. Now it's a bad idea all the way around because you never want a parasite. Your body can react to them.
Well, gosh,
all this other stuff. Plus, you spread them everywhere to everybody else.
Well, I could not imagine intentionally, knowingly ingesting a tapeworm, no matter what my medical problem was.
Well, there was an idiot on TV, one of those survival shows.
Yeah,
guy pulled a tapeworm straight off a piece of meat and swallowed it right there on TV.
For what purpose?
I don't know.
Ratings?
Probably ratings. I wouldn't have done it.
So if I ever need to help boost the ratings of this program, I should bring
go eat a tapeworm.
Or maybe I can talk one of my guests into it. Probably
Maddie.
Not.
Use your producer, Maddie.
Maddie, would you eat a tapeworm to help increase the Fallon Forum's ratings? She's okay, she says.
No, she says ratings are okay.
Ratings are
but
okay.
But if they dip, would you be willing to?
Yeah, that's a good point. If they dip, then you're on board. No, she's looking very, very disgusted right now. Shaking her head this way. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's really a serious public health concern because, they shed millions and millions of eggs everywhere. And, you have to be extremely clean when you get one of these. And most people, they don't take time to wash their hands like they're supposed to, and it's very easy to contaminate all your neighbors, the water supply locally. And especially if you're out in the country using well water, I mean, that's a good way to get everybody sick.
So the moral of this story, Dr. Pat, is to wash your hands before you eat a tapeworm.
Yeah, well, after you eat a tapeworm too, and give it to all your Democratic friends as well. That will help them.
Oh, there you
that
go.
will help them out.
A partisan slam.
No,
in there.
I'm just kidding. I love most of my Democratic colleagues.
Well,
so
in you refer to this as a holistic treatment. Yeah, okay, because it is natural. I guess
it
the tapeworm
is.
natural. But so is. I mean, I remember the prescription for a headache: lay on the ground and have a bear walk on your back. That's also very holistic,
Well, I've never heard
your
of
back
that
will be so
particular thing.
messed up you'll totally forget about your headache.
Yeah, that's right. There you
All right,
go.
well, gosh, I really don't want to talk anymore about tapeworms. I know Maddie wants us to keep talking about tapeworms.
Well,
she's saying,
because apparently our your ratings are spiking while we're talking about tapeworms.
I would be embarrassed for my audience if that was the case. All right, hey, Medicare money for rural hospitals. We got Senator Grassley, Senator Harkin on the same page. This is something that just came to my attention. I'm not tracking it very close here. Brand new piece of information for me, but what do you know about it?
Well, what I know is that we talked about the Clintons earlier. One of the fallout problems with the Clintons and how our healthcare changed after they tried to monkey with it is a lot of our rural hospitals really started to suffer. And a stopgap measure that they utilized to help stabilize the loss of rural communities was Medicare was going to give them more money. It's part of the SGR that everybody's always talking about. That's part of the problem. And basically, what happens is these small rural hospitals, they have a catchment area, and if your catchment area is so small, then you get extra money to keep your hospital open. And that's essentially what happens with this extra Medicare money.
And I understand that. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Medicare, Medicaid, all those health programs, they're always fraught with all kinds of problems. But in our case, we really do, in Iowa, do a lot more with a lot less. And so from my perspective, I think keeping that Medicare money coming in to our rural communities is very, very good. Imagine, you were talking about your daughter earlier. Imagine if you live in Decorah, Iowa, right? And you had to go to Iowa City. That back in the day, that was a long trip cross country. What if you lived in Sheldall?
Sioux City. That was true. If you lived in Sioux after the improvement, and I put that in quotes, in healthcare for the poor back in the late 90s or maybe early 2000s, if you could go to two hospitals in Iowa, Broadlawns if you lived in Polk County, Iowa City if you lived anywhere else. You could live up in Lyon County, Sioux Center, whoever. You'd have to bypass Broadlawns and continue for another 2 hours to get to Iowa City.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
So I mean, what the I don't know where I haven't studied this enough to know what the battle lines look like. Why is the Medicare money for rural hospitals in jeopardy? Is it simply a matter of prioritizing?
I think that's what it boils down to. Iowa, and this is a shot against both Grassley and Harkin, who I respect both members of the Senate. But when you ask them, geez, how come Iowans aren't getting the Medicare reimbursement that we should? Because that's really the problem with our rural hospitals. We don't get the Medicare reimbursement that the other states do. They both say, well, we'll look into it, and then they don't ever show up again. And I can tell you, I've told them both face to face, it's the SGR system that you have set up that penalizes Iowa. So they know what it is. I don't know why they're not changing it into a different system.
Well, because you've got the big states with lots of congressional representation who don't want to do it.
Well, and that may be true.
That's a simple answer in my opinion.
Yeah, that very well may be true.
I love simple answers.
Yeah, well, I do believe that we need Medicare money going to rural hospitals, because if you think Iowa's bad, you should try a state like Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota. In South Dakota, you basically have two hospitals, one in Rapid City, one in Sioux Falls. And there's only the only state facility I know of to treat psychiatric illnesses in Yankton, which is about a half hour north of Sioux City. So if you get in trouble over in Rapid City or north, you got a 6, 8, 7 hour drive just to go get some help, because that's the only state facility.
Well, Pat, can you stick around for another segment, or you got to get going?
You bet.
All right, because we're grinding through the healthcare issues I want to talk about today, and that's okay. We've got through tapeworms. That was the most sticky issue. We got the Medicare. We got the Medicaid. I want to talk about the fat list. Iowa is still on the fat list and rising, and Maybe get your take. I mean, we might disagree on this. We'll see. We'll see. But I also want to talk about the fact that half who now buy their health care plans independently are going to receive some kind of subsidy as the Affordable Care Act kicks in and the insurance exchange begins to happen. We'll talk about that when we come back as well. Again, I want to thank the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit for sponsoring this segment of our show and remind folks to go online, IESUSA.org. Sign up for only $35, an entire day of great instruction on how to put together your small business. I also want to thank Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering in Beaverdale. You go to Tally's much?
No.
That's a big mistake.
I agree.
They got great food there. You would
absolutely.
They have fantastic, a big meat eater like you, man. I know you're not a big meat eater, but they've got fantastic bacon from a farm up by Waterloo.
No kidding. I might have to go there.
Yeah, and a really wonderful seating. I mean, this time of the year, I just love sitting on the rooftop patio or on the street as well. One of my other favorite restaurants, Hawk Restaurant. Hawk, 90% of the food at Hawk comes from local farms, local producers.
Great.
So, anyway, that's HOQ Restaurant in the East Village. At East 5th and Walnut. Okay, folks, I'll be back in just 2 minutes. Pat sticking with me here as we talk a little bit more about healthcare issues.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I don't even know what a tapeworm looks like. Man, maybe you can find us a picture of a tapeworm and put that up on the screen for our audience. I think y'all ought to be, if somebody offers you a tapeworm and says, hey, sir, would you like mustard or ketchup with that? Say neither and just run, okay?
Absolutely.
There are much better ways to lose weight than to eat a tapeworm. Now, maybe your dog has a tapeworm. If so, you want to give Kim Holding a call at Story County Veterinary Clinic. Story County Vet is on Highway 30 between Ames and Nevada. Did you like that segue?
Yeah, it was great. It was brilliant.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm gonna segue again without any logic at all. Again, remind you folks, the IED, the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit. Check it out, November 9th, coming up not too far away. I also want to thank, again, Diana's Wedding Cakes. Now, I should never have done that promo in a sentence in a spot where I'm talking about tapeworms.
Oh,
but, no, Diana's is really, really high-quality cakes. And I never should have. I've got to get these promos lined up in a better order, because now I'm going to talk about how Iowa has climbed 6 spots in the annual ranking of obesity. Woohoo!
Hey, you can't beat that.
Well,
Guy was got to be number one in something. It isn't education anymore.
Well, it is not education, but we're number one in a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're the new cultural and culinary crossroads of the continent. I mean,
absolutely.
But we're also packing it on. 30.5% of Iowa adults were rated as obese. If memory serves, obese means you are 30 pounds or more above your ideal weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another 30% of Iowans are overweight, meaning somewhere between the ideal weight and that 30-pound threshold where you enter obesity. And I don't know how many. I mean, I'm probably a little bit under what's called the ideal weight. I don't know.
You bet.
But
no, I'm going to tell you, they came up with this thing called the BMI, and they adjust
body mass index.
Yes, and they adjust it every so often. The problem is, the last time I paid attention to it was about 5 years ago. And the criteria to be normal weight is so ridiculous that there's not a way you could do it unless you were starving. I think you have, when you're 6 foot tall, I think the weight you're supposed to be is 165 or 168 pounds.
6 foot tall, 168?
Yeah, I think. Now I can't recall.
Okay, well, I'm right there.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, even when I was wrestling in high school and barely had any fat anywhere on me, I still weighed 188 pounds. So I was 20 pounds overweight, as skinny as I've ever been in my life. Right. I mean, there's so many different factors besides weight to take into account. And so, it's important to be more like Ed than like me. All right. That's the truth. Ed probably doesn't have the health problems I have. I have diabetes. Ed probably doesn't have it.
Nope.
But it's really not exactly about weight. It's about how you live, what you eat, and how you exercise. And that's really what makes you healthy. The other thing is it doesn't surprise me that I was going up in rank, because look at most of your sponsors are food people, right?
Yeah,
it's all about
they're
food.
healthy food people.
Well, great.
I mean, that's a big part of what they do, is focus on healthy stuff.
But if you look at the growth that Iowa's had in its job growth Iowa's had, most of it comes from expanding food service slots.
I'm blaming the butter cow. Okay.
Butter cow,
and all these things you fry and put them on a stick. I mean, that's
absolutely. Well, and that's why those people got her. Got the butter cow. Maybe now we'll start losing weight again.
I don't think I don't think they give a hoot about body mass index or obesity. I think they're just crazy nutcases when it comes to going to an extreme level to, quote, protect animals. To
I know.
Liberate animals.
I could see like tearing down one of the hog barns or something, letting the pigs free. But,
really?
Can
we set up a time and a date to do that?
I wouldn't do it. That's against the law. I'm just going to say, if you're going to go out there and protest something, the butter cow isn't it.
Yeah. A hog confinement might be a better symbol.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
But I mean, I guess here's the good news. The rate of growth in America's obesity is flattening. We're not getting as fatter. We're not putting on as much weight as we used to. It's a smaller level of growth, but and the problem is, a doctor, the obesity related illnesses. Just incredible.
Well, the part of the problem is the portions we have.
Portions, sure.
You bet. You go to any restaurant. There's a restaurant I love, but they're not a sponsor, so I'm not going to mention them.
You can go ahead. I don't care.
But Django.
Oh yeah, I love Django. Sure.
It's wonderful. So I go down there. I think I'm going to get a couple of pork chops.
French cooking without the attitude.
There you go. And it is. It's a wonderful place. So order pork chops. I must have 4 pounds of meat there.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, I just need a regular pork chop.
How many ounces is that?
It's probably 22 ounces altogether with that. And
Yeah.
you know, if you look
Yeah,
at
that's
the
a big
portion, all the food they give you, you go look at a place like Flying Mango. They're a little bit more reasonable in their portions, but boy, they give you a lot.
No, but see, and one thing I appreciate about, I mean, I and maybe this is me, but I like the fact that the restaurants that help sponsor this program tend to offer more reasonable portions. I don't want to have to take a whole bunch of stuff home with me, ideally,
Well,
especially when
that's
I'm on
true.
my bike. But you know, I mean, the portions at the restaurants I tend to go to tend to be smaller.
Well, yeah, and that's absolutely true. But for most people, if you don't get the portion you expect,
Right, and we've come to expect large.
yeah. Oh, well, you know, boy, that restaurant was a ripoff, no matter how good it was, no matter what the proper serving size would be. So a lot of this has to do with the culture that we have here in Iowa. You know, we have this, you know, I see shirts that say corn fed on it everywhere, you know, so.
High fructose corn syrup fed.
Yeah, absolutely, you know. And so I think those are a lot of the reasons why Iowans are getting fatter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Branstad, of course, has talked about making the Healthy State Initiative, but really, I mean, it's not. It's to me, it's got to be. And maybe we'll agree on this somewhat. It's got to be a combination of personal choice. I mean, you've got to be willing to make the commitment to exercise, to to not just sit in front of the TV all the time, to eat right, to get enough sleep. All those things make a difference. But we've also got to have the right policies in place that encourage, that make it easier to do the right thing. And that's what we don't have right now. We have subsidies that make it really easy to produce and process the wrong kinds of food.
Well, and I would agree. I'm a big fan of trying to get rid of subsidies for all kinds of things. I think high fructose corn syrup probably isn't the best thing for us to eat. I think the food pyramid is really a ridiculous thing. It encourages you to eat a ton of fat forming foods in exchange for things that are less easily consumed.
Maddie, Pat and I are agreeing. Can we go to a quick break so we can give each other a big hug?
I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out.
Pass out or pass?
This is the second time this week I've agreed with a lefty. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. Maybe we can.
They're going to revoke my conservative card.
Maybe we can disagree on one more thing here. Half who now buy their health plan independently, and that would be me if I could afford it, are going to get some kind of assistance, what do we call it? That's what I'm looking for. Tax credit with the Affordable Care Act. Okay, a study recently found that 48% of the families who currently get their own coverage are going to be eligible for these tax credits. Those tax credits will average about $5,500 per family. I was surprised to see that. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
I'm guessing, let's see, those making between 100 and 400% of the federal poverty level, and that's $11,500 for 100% of poverty level. That's right at poverty level, an individual, and up to $46,000 for an individual. So that's okay. That's four. What am I saying? That's 400%. So if you're an individual and you earn up to $46,000, you will get some kind of help, some kind of tax credit. My question is, well, I have two questions for you. Do you have any idea what the spectrum looks like? I mean, at what point does it really not help you at all because it's such a small amount? Apparently, the average is $5,500 per family. That's a lot. But the problem is, of course, there's no way to hold insurance companies accountable for keeping their rates from going any higher than they already are. They're going to have to cover pre-existing conditions. They're going to have to provide some certain standard benefits. And the annual out-of-pocket expenses are going to be capped. So insurance companies are going to find a way around that by raising rates. And
well,
so
of course they have to. I mean, this is a conversation that I've had several times. One of the reasons insurance is so expensive is because of the government regulations. I lost my health insurance there for about a year, and I will tell you why. The reason was Obamacare does not allow you to charge more for somebody's lifestyle. I had a pre-existing condition. They said, well, we can't charge you more for it like they had before, so they simply cut me off. That was the end of it. Yeah, I didn't have it anymore.
To me,
strictly due to a government regulation. There's a lot of expense out there.
Yeah. But the problem to me, Pat, is that there are certain areas that should be off limits from the private sector. I mean, I think a free enterprise system, free market system makes a lot of sense for nearly everything, except when you get to the stuff where that we are dealing with people in vulnerable situations where you want to have equal access, whether it's public education, nursing home care, or healthcare. I think that's the problem. Is we're under the false impression that somehow you can have a private system that manages healthcare, and we somehow expect that to be cost effective and adequately serve everybody. That's my take on it. And
well, I think that's just a basic fundamental difference between you and I. I believe that the private sector has done a very good job at creating the world's number one healthcare system.
Oh, we do not have the world's number one healthcare system.
We do. If you look at the one thing I always hear about is, it's not crib death, but it's
SIDS.
Yes, fetal demise, basically. And if you look at how we look at fetal demise and stillborns and the rest of those things versus how everybody else in the world views it, our numbers, because of the statistical difference of how they actually count them, what the definition is, we're always going to be much higher, always, because it happens at the time of birth.
But if you look at a whole range of health indicators, the U.S., despite spending more, almost twice as much as any other country.
What other health indicators? We're much better at cancer.
I'll have to look them up. What?
We're much better at cancer.
It depends.
That doesn't depend. Our survival rate on cancers overall is much better than anything else. There are other countries that don't even treat testicular cancer. The other thing is people don't understand.
We rank 38th, according to the World Health Organization ranking system of 191 member states. We rank 38th. 38th, Pat.
Yeah, but
that's
there's
a whole bunch of different.
But
factors.
Here's the two things that drag us down. One, who pays for it? Since we have individuals pay for it, that really knocks us down. Since most of these other countries have socialized medicine, they don't take into account the amount of money that individuals pay in taxes for the healthcare. That's the first thing.
They do.
Yeah, it is. It is. Trust me on this one. The second thing is
they do take it into account.
They don't take it into account because they look at, well, how much does the individual pay? Well, they don't say, if I have to pay $10,000 to the government for my health care in another country, they don't take that $10,000 into account because it's the government actually paying for it. What they do here is if I have to pay 10 grand here, it goes against me. But if I pay that same 10 grand in the form of a tax and loop it through the government, then they don't count that. The second thing is fetal demise, basically, if your baby dies.
You're just picking out one stat. One.
But those are the two stats.
Yeah,
those are the two stats that drag us down. If you take out those two stats, and we're number one.
No,
we are.
There's no.
Have you done that? Have you taken those two stats?
But there's no way. I mean, I have not. I don't have the time to do that right now, and I will look into that. But I cannot believe that that's the case. This study, I've seen it in the past. I just can't remember all the different things they looked at. But they looked at a whole range of stuff. And yeah, we spend more than any nation. We rank 38th in overall health and well-being. And I mean, how can you deny that? I mean, look at the obesity stats. I mean, can we continue to get fatter?
These are all lifestyle decisions and has nothing to do.
Lifestyle decisions that are supported by policy decisions that make for cheap, trashy
Absolutely,
food.
But that still doesn't have anything to do with the delivery of our health care. That still doesn't have anything to do with how people do. The bottom line is what we're doing with our healthcare systems, we're shifting the cost and the responsibility, by the way, from humans to a giant bureaucratic machine. All right? And that's essentially what happens. And you've heard the phrase "drive it like a rental." Well, yeah, that's what.
It's whether it's a government bureaucracy or an insurance company bureaucracy, humans are running it. The problem with the insurance company bureaucracy is humans are running it with the intent of making a lot of money, and they're doing really, really well at it.
You know what?
And government ideally should not be doing that. I'm not saying government will necessarily do it well, but they should not be doing that.
If I have a problem getting a patient a medication and they're out with private insurance, I can call a doctor at that insurance company and discuss it with them. I promise you, I cannot do the same with Medicare or Medicaid. They will send it back and say, use this medication. It's not approved for that use. We don't care. It's the cheapest we got. I promise that happens in my office at least 10 times a day. There's no way I can talk to a government bureaucrat. He has no incentive to do that.
I just look at the list of countries that are way ahead of us. France is number 1, Italy number 2, maybe at San Marino, Andorra. Maybe just means the healthiest countries are going to be on the Mediterranean Sea, but But then you've got Spain, you've got Austria, Japan, Norway, Portugal.
But look at
even
Greece. Look at their lifestyle choices. Look at their lifestyle choices, right? Look at what they do. We have a lifestyle choice in America of excess. We do everything to excess. Our cars are big. Our cars are fast. Our restaurants, our portions are huge. The bottom line is, if you take away those 2 points that I mentioned earlier, America jumps to number one. I promise you.
I absolutely doubt that, Pat.
I know you doubt it because, I don't know if Ed's not the kind of guy to drink the Kool-Aid, but I think on this one, there's a big cup of Kool-Aid sitting over there on Maddie's desk.
Well,
Maddie, you got a cup of Kool-Aid for him?
You drink that. You wash that tapeworm down with that Kool-Aid, okay?
No, but honestly, I'm telling you straight up, there's a lot of different things that go into those factors, and most of them are not favorable to the United States.
All right. Well, anyway, we could talk a lot about this, Pat. You'll be happy to know I've decided not to give you a big hug. Anyway, but I do appreciate you coming on the program, Dr. Pat Bertroche. We have one thing in common: we both ran for Congress against Leonard Boswell.
Yeah, neither one of us had a good experience. How
much did you raise in that race?
Oh, I didn't raise a lot.
Yeah, I raised $500,000.
Oh my goodness!
I raised $500,000 and got my butt.
Well, that's
kicked.
what Jim Gibbons raised, and he didn't make it out of the primary.
Well, why didn't he make it out of the primary either? I guess.
No, well, that's true. That's true.
Anyway, but my condolences on that. I can relate. But again, thanks for taking the time to talk with us about health insurance.
I appreciate
healthcare.
being on the show.
Even though you're wrong on all the issues, I still appreciate your viewpoints.
Well, just like you.
All right, folks. We got a little more to talk about here today on the Fallon Forum. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. We're going to talk about the visit to Iowa of Gina McCarthy, the new head of the EPA. Also, briefly take a look at the Aviva buyout and some data on the governor's SUV. Apparently, it will remain secret. Another lack of transparency issue coming from Governor Branstad.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day uno, one of webcast1live.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
That's Mary McAdams, and we're down to the final few minutes here on the Fallon Forum. All right, so Iowa farmers, and I think by that use of the word in the headline in today's paper, but I think by farmers they mean Farm Bureau and the bigger ag types, because some of the organizations that tend to work with the smaller farmers, like CCI, like the Sierra Club, are not at all happy with Gina McCarthy. She said, quote, "My commitment to you," this is what she said to the Farm Bureau gathering. And when I say Farm Bureau gathering, it was in the Farm Bureau building at the State Fair. "My commitment to you is that at the end of my term, we will have a stronger, more productive," I want to hear, "water quality protection program." No, what I hear is we will have a stronger, more productive, more trusting relationship between EPA and the agricultural community. That could mean a lot of things, but it's really not what folks who have been fighting for cleaner water wanted to hear. Maybe they're not surprised. Anyway, Branstad had nothing but favorable comments to make about Gina McCarthy. That in itself was a huge red flag, because Branstad is the one who's been fighting the EPA on trying to require decent regulations for water quality. He's all for just making it voluntary, and we've already seen how well the voluntary system has worked. Two farmers who were at the at a later meeting with McCarthy, one of them, Sherry Mortiz, said, quote, "We told her that we'd have rather seen in that headline that she's going to clean up our water." Okay, well, that's pretty much what I was saying. Yeah. And then in a delicious typo in the Des Moines Register, she said she was a Des Moines resident who operated a consignment hog operation in Story County for 10 years. I am so intrigued by what a consignment hog operation looks like. Ouch, ouch, oh, editors. Oh my gosh. Jennifer Jacobs, yeah, maybe you get a little bit of the blame, but you can pass it on to your copy editor there. Consignment hog operation. I just love that. Anyway, the other farmer quoted in this story, Barb Kalbach, somebody I know quite well, a farmer from, fourth generation farmer from near Greenfield. She said Iowa already has 628 impaired waterways, and nothing is reversing in an industry that's voluntarily regulated. It won't work in the state. Well, and more to the point, it hasn't worked. Voluntary, when it comes to regulation of our water quality, doesn't work. And again, I think some of us are now wondering, well, why did President Obama appoint somebody who is so friendly to the interests that have been polluting our water? Okay, the Aviva buyout. Athene is spending $1.5 billion to purchase Aviva. They promised to actually move their headquarters to West Des Moines from South Carolina. That's just a passing reference in today's story. What I want to find out is what kind of subsidies are taxpayers in Iowa going to be expected to provide to move the, Athene here from South Carolina, and how do the folks in South Carolina feel about their jobs being lost? Anyway, I get really tired. I bet Pat and I would agree on that one. I get really tired of seeing, public money being used to basically rob one corporation from someplace and bring it somewhere else. And again, I don't know for sure how much of that is happening, and I'm also not quite sure what this means. Again, this is an area that I don't have a lot of. I don't. Annuities 101. I could take that course. Anyway, we'll probably hear more about that as that moves forward. The one other thing I got to mention. Okay, so folks are wondering more about what happened with the background on Governor Branstad's speeding SUV. The Department of Public Safety apparently has reversed its course, and they have decided not to provide the information, not to provide the public with detail about police inquiries on Governor Branstad's state license plate. You know what that means to me? There's information out there that Governor Branstad does not want us to know. I mean, this guy's criticism of Culver for lack of transparency, and again, I'm not saying that criticism wasn't legitimate, but what a hypocrite. I mean, what a hypocrite to be continually talking about transparency and then to deny the public access to information about your car, the car that's driving you around the state at taxpayer expense, because it would probably compromise your image. I get really tired of this, and unfortunately, I don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to be up to some Democrat or independent or Republican challenger to make this Branstad's last term. Anyway, thanks for joining us today on the Fallon Forum, folks. I do want to thank all of our sponsors. Again, go to my website, fallonforum.com. and thank the businesses that support this program by patronizing them. Gateway Market in particular, my business anchor sponsor. Gateway is at 20th and Woodland. And again, I love their breakfast, lunch, and supper. And their Monday supper meal is fantastically priced as well. It's really, really affordable. Okay, Story County Veterinary Clinic, one of my other supporters as well. Enjoyed having Kim Holding call into this program on Tuesday to talk with the guy who was defending the desecration of the butter cow. Again, want to thank all of my sponsors. Please go to the website, support them, support this program. Keep it going, folks. Thanks for joining us. Again, thanks to Maddie Kane, my producer, and to Webcast One Live for helping to provide the studio, and to crazy Dr. Pat Bertroche for joining us on the show. I say crazy, but I'm teasing. He's very articulate. He knows his stuff. Even if he has a different opinion than mine, it's worth listening to. It's worth sharing, and I'm glad to have him on this program from time to time. I'll be back on Monday.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.